Hey, can we talk for a minute? If you've ever felt like you've messed up so badly that there's no coming back, this message is for you. Maybe you've made mistakes that keep you up at night. Maybe you've hurt someone you care about. Or maybe you were the one who got hurt. Maybe you're carrying around guilt, shame, or regret, like it's a backpack full of bricks. And after a while, it feels like that weight becomes part of you, doesn't it? Like you're destined to carry it forever. The Bible says in Lamentations 3:22-23, "Because of the Lord's great love we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning, great is your faithfulness." Did you catch that? His mercies are new every morning. Every single day is a fresh start. You don't have to carry yesterday's mistakes into today. You don't have to be defined by who you were. You get to step into who God is calling you to be. But I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not your mistakes. You are not defined by your past. And most importantly, God doesn't see you through the lens of your failures. We serve a God of grace, mercy, a God who doesn't give up on us, even when we've given up on ourselves. His love is bigger than your biggest failure, stronger than your deepest regret. And because of that love, you get to start again. Everyone makes mistakes. We're human. We say the wrong things, make bad choices, hurt people, even when we don't mean to. Sometimes we hurt ourselves. But mistakes aren't the end of the story. They're just a chapter. What really matters is what comes next. Do you let it define you? Do you let it hold you hostage? Or do you pick yourself up, lean into God's grace, and let him turn your pain into purpose? Because second chances are about learning from the past, about growing through the struggle, and about trusting that God can take even the messiest parts of your story and turn them into something beautiful. The Bible is full of stories about second chances. Think about Peter. He was one of Jesus' closest friends, but when things got tough, Peter denied even knowing him. Not once, but 3 times. Imagine the shame, the guilt Peter must have felt. But what did Jesus do after he rose from the dead? He didn't cast Peter aside. He didn't say, "You blew it, I'm done with you." No. Jesus forgave him. He restored him. And Peter went on to become one of the most important leaders in the early church. That's the power of God's grace. It doesn't just wipe the slate clean, it transforms you. It takes the very places where you feel weakest, broken, and turns them into testimonies. But maybe you're not struggling to forgive yourself. Maybe someone hurt you deeply. Maybe they betrayed your trust, lied to you, or walked away when you needed them most. And now you're wondering, do they deserve a second chance? Forgiveness is hard. It's one of the hardest things God asks us to do. He doesn't ask us to forgive because the other person deserves it. He asks us to forgive because we deserve peace. Carrying bitterness and resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It eats you up from the inside. When you forgive, when you let go, you're freeing yourself. You're saying, this pain doesn't control me anymore. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. Pretending the hurt never happened, or putting yourself back into a toxic situation. Sometimes, the healthiest thing you can do is forgive someone and still choose to walk away. But sometimes giving someone a second chance can lead to something beautiful. People can change, hearts can soften, and relationships can be restored. Not because of our strength, but because of God's grace. Second chances aren't just for others. They're for you too. Maybe you've been holding yourself hostage to your past, convinced you're too far gone, made too many mistakes to deserve happiness, love, or peace. But that's a lie. Sometimes we think we need to get our lives together before we come to God. We think, let me fix this, let me clean up that, and then I'll be worthy of His love. But that's not how God works. He doesn't love some future perfect version of you. He loves you right here, right now, in all your mess, in all your brokenness. Think about the prodigal son. He messed up big time. He took his inheritance, wasted it on reckless living, and ended up broke, hungry, and alone. But when he finally decided to go back home, do you know what happened? His father ran to him. He didn't wait for his son to beg for forgiveness. He didn't hold a grudge or make him earn his way back. He ran to him, threw his arms around him, and celebrated his return. That's how God feels about you. No matter how far you've strayed, no matter how badly you think you've messed up, He's waiting for you with open arms. He's ready to pour out His love, His grace, His mercy. All you have to do is come home. You take a breath. You let go of the guilt, the shame, the fear that's been holding you back. You remind yourself God is bigger than your mistakes. You stop beating yourself up for things you can't change and start trusting God is working everything out for your good. If you need to forgive, ask God for strength, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. And if you're the one who needs a second chance, whether from someone else or yourself, remember God's grace is already covering you. Life isn't about being perfect. It's about growing, learning, and becoming who God created you to be. Sometimes the most beautiful parts of our story come after the mistakes, after the heartbreak, after the fall. Don't be afraid to try again, trust again, or believe in second chances. With God, failure is never final. The road ahead might not be easy, but it's worth it. The second time around might be the most beautiful part of your story. With God, every ending is the beginning of something new.